Hey everyone, welcome to the channel where we love to talk about movies. Welcome especially if you're new. If you enjoy talking about movies and staying up to speed on what's in theaters and what's worth checking out, be sure to hit that subscribe button so you never miss a review. Alright, with that we're going to get into today's review, which is for See How They Run. I saw this actually yesterday in theaters, so getting to it now, we'll dive right on in and start off with a brief synopsis. So, in the West End of 1950s London, plans for a movie version of a smash hit play come to an abrupt halt after a pivotal member of the crew is murdered. So we will just cover 5 points of the film that stood out to me that I wanted to talk to, and then I'll give kind of my overall thoughts and letter grade for the film. So first thing that stood out to me, or kind of point about the film, was the humor. It's definitely meant to be very comedic, and while I would say I was amused throughout all of it, the humor really didn't work. I think being amused after so long just kind of gets tiring. I maybe had a couple genuine laughs, but it was very kind of on the nose and double meaning for the comedy. And I think that works in proper doses, but that was like all of the comedy and it was throughout the entire film. So it was, yeah, it was, for whatever reason, the humor really didn't work for me on this one. The second thing that I wanted to talk to, we'll actually save this for, well, so this one's a bit of a spoiler, or this one is a spoiler, so spoiler alert, skip ahead to, yeah, skip ahead if you don't want to hear anything, but they basically, yeah, so skip ahead about a minute or two if you don't want to hear a spoiler, the rest will be non-spoilers. And so, for how the film ends, they tell you earlier on, and because they are being a bit meta with it and saying, hey, we want the movie to end this way for the movie that they're trying to make in the film. And it gets torn to shreds because it's a terrible plan for an ending of a film, and there's lots of reasons to not do it. But then they do it in the movie, and they think they're clever and being meta that way, but it's still a bad ending to the film. So that's, yeah, that's a spoiler, but I didn't really care for that. We'll move on to the third point, so if people were skipping ahead, we don't talk to it too long. The third thing that stood out to me was that I wasn't I wasn't really invested in any of the characters. And like for something where you need to care about who did it or maybe who gets murdered, I had like zero investment across the board. And that kind of falls or flows into point number four, which is I wasn't invested in the mystery either. I think I started to maybe get a little interested and intrigued about halfway through or three-fourths of the way through, but that's like way too late to get somebody on board. I was not in the least bit interested. I'm like, okay, it's a mystery. I guess I have to try to figure out who it was. But I wasn't like, yeah, wasn't interested in the victim. I wasn't really like trying to figure out who did it because there's all these characters I cared about. And then yeah, it just wasn't all that interesting of a mystery, and they didn't give us very many clues. You were just kind of watching the people go around, and yeah, they really didn't drop any clues. You're like, okay, well, I could see there's lots of possibilities here, and there's absolutely nothing to go off of. So that was my take on it. Maybe other people were picking up clues that I just wasn't, but that's how it felt to me. And then the last thing, it won't be like a spoiler for what it is specifically, but the very last shot of the film, given the style of the film, I thought about, I think it was like three-fourths of the way through, I'm like, oh, they should do this for the like the very last scene of the film. I think that would actually be kind of clever. And so they ended up doing it, and so I give them kudos for at least thinking of that, because I think if you're doing the movie in the way that you did it, which was very kind of double meaning and stuff like that, and a lot of meta sort of awareness, I respect that they had the idea as I had, but then when I saw it play out, it really didn't work. So I feel like it should have maybe been edited out. I don't know. It made sense that that's what they went for, but at the same time it didn't work for me. Like the very, very last like 10, 15 seconds of the film. So if you've seen it, you know. If not, I don't think I spoiled anything. So those are kind of the 5 points that I had though on the film. Overall, this one was a C for me. I thought it was just fine. It wasn't a bad film, but I really wasn't all that entertained throughout. especially for it being a mystery. It just didn't really have any good characters in my opinion. You weren't invested. The little bit that you were felt just kind of stereotypical and a little bit cheap. How they built, yeah, the little bit that was there. I didn't really care for the visual style of the film either. It was fine. I appreciate that it was different, but it didn't really click for me. And then ultimately, it just felt like it was a film that thought it was being a lot more clever than it was. And yeah, so it just kind of left me feeling pretty meh coming out of the theater. So this isn't one that I can recommend, unfortunately, but if you've had a chance to see it, I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments below. If you have seen it, I hope you enjoyed it more than me, because I didn't enjoy it very much. But yeah, if you enjoyed this review, be sure to smash that like and subscribe button. And with that, thanks for watching, and we'll catch you in the next video.